Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm here to talk to you about the Reading Women's Challenge. This year there's a lot of campaigns going around about reading more women writers or female writers, and I thought it would be appropriate for the 8th of March to talk to you about some of the women I'm planning on reading this year. I'm trying not to mention some of the authors you may already know I love, Sophie Kinsella, Jane Austen, or especially those two, but kind of trying to broaden my spectrum of female authors that I read. This video is inspired by the Reading Women's Challenge set up by the Reading Women podcast. All the information is in the website. I'm gonna leave their website down below in the description box so you can check that out. They have a whole post dedicated to what this is about, all the challenges, and so the Reading Women's Challenge is a reading challenge with 24 challenges that you can try to accomplish. But I guess the main point is to read more than 24 women authors, or at least books that complete all these challenges. So I have some books prepared, some I don't own, so some books I cannot find yet that fulfill some of these requirements. For example, a book about a women athlete, I'm having extreme difficulty finding something like that, and a book about nature by a woman I'm also finding incredibly hard to find. That being said, I have some books here. Another reading challenge that's happening, it's a Vintage book club. Vintage is a publishing house, and they have a Facebook group which you can join. That is the Vintage book club. This year in 2019 they're challenging us to read more women, and so to read, for example, 2 books that kind of correlate with each other every month by women. I have some of their examples / recommendations here with me as well, so that they can also help me read more women authors and also maybe fulfill some of these requirements. We'll start by the Reading Women's Challenge, and I'm going to show you some of the books I have here and what requirements or what challenges do they complete. There's a lot of challenges that I'm not going to mention, but you can check out all that information in their website. Sorry about my dog, she's making a lot of noise. So I'm going to start with the book I've already read this year, and that is The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. Now this is a delightful YA read about it. Natasha and Daniel. Natasha is about to be deported from America to Jamaica because the police has found out that they are illegal immigrants. Daniel is a Korean American boy whose family is very into him getting into a Ivy League school and going into med school or law school, I don't remember now. But he is kind of a poet. So yeah, they are both kind of dealing with that, and they meet on this one day and they go around New York City. And it's a beautiful book. I found it really beautiful, the way it was written, the message it tries to portray. It's an own voices book, which by itself is another whole kind of challenge that I'm taking on, to read more own stories. So this book is by a woman, so by itself is already good that you're reading it. It's an own voices story, which is also good. But this completes challenge number 24 on the Reading Women's Challenge. That is a YA book by women of color. It also completes challenge 18, which is a romance or love story. That being said, I have read another book since then, which is Jill Mansell's This Could Change Everything, which I don't own because I've read it in a Kindle. That is a love story and doesn't fulfill any other challenges, so I'm giving that to that one, and this is the YA book by a woman of color. Now I have other books here that could complete some challenges. The next one is Homegoing by Ya Gyasi. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And this is a story of 2 sisters with very different destinies, and what happens to their families as they are separated by the slave trade. So I own this book for a year now, and I haven't read yet, and I think this year is the year I'm gonna read it. This fulfills challenge number 6, which is a multi-generation family saga, and this is pretty much how it has been described since it came out. It is also been very highly reviewed. Everyone says amazing things about this book, and I really cannot wait to read it. The next book is from an author I've already read before, and that is Celeste Ng, and this is Little Fires Everywhere. Now, where can I categorize this? If I'm reading a book by a woman, I'm already call myself lucky, but that being said, the first challenge in the Reading Women's Challenge is read a mystery or thriller by a woman of color. Now, does this check that criteria? I don't know. Please do tell me. Celeste Ng is an Asian American woman, and I've researched through the Reading Women's podcast's website, and apparently Asian Americans can be also considered women of color. I'm a white person. I am not the one that can claim that. So yeah, my other question is this a book? Is this a mystery or thriller? Because the other book by her, Everything I Never Told You, despite being very contemporary, very interesting, not contemporary, but more of a family saga from in the 70s, it had a mystery and it had a murder in it or a death in it. So you were always very on edge about what happened. I don't know if that's what happens here, because I just bought it because it was by her and I was mind blown by Everything I Never Told You. So yeah, that's another book. One of the classics that most people will include in this list, in this Reading Women's Challenge. Now, one of the classics that most people will include in this Reading Women's Challenge is this classic, because it fits a lot of criteria. I've read another story that's in this book, but I haven't read a most famous one, especially because I think in America it's studied, and that is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Now, I've studied Herland, her feminist utopian novel. The Yellow Wallpaper fits the criteria for 2 challenges, for women with a mental illness and 9, which is a novella, because it is a shorter story. It can also be considered a short story. However, in the recommendations in the Goodreads group for the Reading Women's Challenge, a lot of people are recommending The Yellow Wallpaper as a novella. What do I know about this? I just know that it's about a woman going kind of mad inside a room because her husband has locked her in or something like that. And it's a very insightful, very sad read, I'm assuming. I love feminist authors in theory, so I cannot wait to read one of these early works about first wave feminists. So yeah. Another author in general that I know I will read and will complete the challenge is Philippa Gregory, because challenge number 20 is historical fiction book, and that is one of my favorite genres. Now, I could go with a Portuguese author, which is Isabel Stilwell, for example, but for your entertainment, I thought it would be better to show you Philippa Gregory. One of the books I have by her is The King's Curse. This is her biggest one. I probably wouldn't read this one, but just for purposes of showing you which author I'm talking about, it's Philippa Gregory. She has a whole series about the War of the Roses and the Tudor era, and they are amazing and very insightful and very researched. And she is, all around a very interesting author. She has a new book coming out now that's not based on royalty. But I am kind of obsessed with historical fiction based on royalty, focused on royalty. That's why I love the Tudor series by her and the War of the Roses series. I'm sure I will read Philippa Gregory this year as well, because not only do I love her, and I'm already a usual reader of her work, it would make me complete another challenge in this list. Next one is one that I've recently purchased, and I know it will fulfill challenge number 9 again, which is a novella. And that is The Awakening by Kate Chopin, or Chopin? I don't know how you say it. I've read a lot about this book. I've heard it's groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking at the time it came out. It's a novella about a married woman's sexual liberation, and it caused outrage when it was published in America in the 19th century. Do I read a lot of Americans from the 19th century? No, at all. But I think I can make an exception and read this, because if it caused outrage and it is a feminist novel, then I can completely read it. Yeah, I'm on board with this. So I cannot wait to read this. Also, I love this edition. It's so beautiful and so readable, and yeah, can't wait. Another book that I purchased, particularly because of this reading challenge, I was thinking about it, and then this reading challenge kind of took me to actually purchase this book. It's Educated by Tara Westover. Everyone is talking about this book, because I guess even Barack Obama recommended it. This is a memoir to fulfill challenge number 17, which is from 2018 Reading Women's Award shortlist. But this is a memoir, this is not a novel. That being said, I've heard it reads kind of like a novel, because it's mind-blowing what this girl has been through, what her family has put her through. I cannot understand how these cults exist, but I can understand the pain that people involved in these cults can go through. It kind of breaks my heart how this girl could Like, how can they allow people to not give education to their children or not vaccinate their children? It's kind of mind-blowing that she was never vaccinated, for example, never went to school, but didn't know basic things that we know. We just naturally know because you know about them while we are growing up. That being said, because I've heard it's amazing, I thought I would give it a shot and purchase it and read it this year. Let's hope I do. Let's hope I can find myself in the mind space to read this book. But I'm also really interested in reading this book. So yeah. Now comes some books recommended from the Vintage Book Club challenge to read more women this year. And that may also help me with some of the books from this challenge. I don't know if they will, but I will try anyway. So the first one is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is in their recommendations by Vintage. I hope I can read this year. I've been putting it off way too long. It's about damn time that I read this novel, because this is this changed literature, this invented a genre, and it was a woman who did it. And I cannot shut up about it. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. We all know the story. I haven't read it yet, so I do want to read it. And it's one of the books by a woman that's been recommended over and over again to read. I hope I read this year, yeah, because I do want to read more classics. The next one, also recommended by Vintage, and also one of my most, I want to read this. I actually asked for this for my birthday and it was given to me by my godmother. It's in a haul somewhere in this channel. So I do want to read it, and that is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I do want to watch the TV show as well, especially the first season, which is an adaptation of this novel. So I do want to read this before I watch the show. I've heard amazing things about this. I enjoy dystopian novels very much, but I was not mind blown by Brave New World. But I do think I'm gonna be mind blown by this one. What I've heard is that the terrifying thing about reading this novel is how not so far we have come as a society from this happening. It scares the hell out of me, but I do want to read this and, you know, kind of get on this bandwagon, and also because I've heard it's amazing. So, of course, and it's by a woman, so there you go. Another two books are more recent ones. The first one I have here is The Miseducation of Cameron Post by Emily M. Danforth. This book has been adapted into a movie. I haven't watched it yet, I haven't read it yet, but I have purchased it recently because everyone is raving about this book. This edition has the LGBT flag in it, which I find really cool. And the story itself is it's boy erased but fictional. So it's a girl who loses her parents, finds herself with her aunt, who throws her into a conversion camp because she's gay. And that is terrifying and horrifying. But I hope the story has a happy ending. I do hope so. But yeah, I've been really interested in reading this book. I've heard that the movie was also very well received, even though it didn't premiere here in Portugal. Don't know why. I'm mad about it too. Can't wait to read this book. And the next one is one of the most recent ones, and it's been awarded many awards. It won the Man Booker Prize this year, and it's a dystopian novel based on the time period of the Troubles of Ireland, and that is Milkman by Anna Burns. In this novel, no one has a name. There's this woman, middle sister, and she's trying to kind of escape people talking about her having a boyfriend, and then she has an encounter with Milkman. I don't know much about this book. I know it's very good. I know it has received the Man Booker Prize. I know it deals with very important topics that are being discussed right now in our society. So sexual assault, sexual abuse, rape culture. Also the fact that it's kind of based on that very important, very complicated time in history in Ireland also makes me really want to read it, because when I was in Erasmus I learned a lot about really what people went through there that I didn't know about. I know they had political issues there at the time in 70s, 80s, 90s, but I didn't know how it affected society so much. And this book kind of really came at a great time for me to be really interested in reading it, as well as a lot of the other Man Booker Prize nominees as well. So I will check those out if I want the recommendations of female authors, which they did nominate a lot of them, so a lot of female authors, so that's good. I've been talking for a long time. My battery is running out, so I'm finished. I haven't completed all the challenges at all. I hope I do a video about this at the end of this year or at the beginning of the next one, telling you all the women authors I've read in 2018 and how many challenges I've completed during this year. That being said, this is all from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check the links down below. Go check out these reading challenges, these book clubs. They're all amazing. Great recommendations for you to read more female authors. That being said, all my media links are also in the description box, so you can check them out if you want to. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe give it a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you soon with a new video soon. Bye!